So the book starts off on a field trip where things kind of go weird, and he vaporizes his pre-algebra teacher, just like the book says he does. And then everything goes back to weirdly normal, but then they super duper gaslight him. But he sort of finds out the truth eventually, but his mom dies, so that sucks. Either way, he's the son of a god. He doesn't know which god, and then he does know which god, and it's a crime that he exists. And then he has to go on this quest because he's being framed for theft, and if he doesn't find it, then, you know, he'll die. And then there's a huge plot twist because the person that they're assuming stole the thing did not actually steal the thing. Can you fucking believe that? So he's being framed for that one as well. And then he fights Ares and somehow doesn't die because Ares is being mind controlled and all that fun stuff. His best friend's a goat, his teacher is a horse, and his future girlfriend is a dick. And his mom's not actually dead. I said something similar in the ranking video. Just because this is the weakest book in the series doesn't mean it's a weak book overall. I feel like that kind of goes to a lot of series, but this one in particular really shines in every single book. I never felt weird reading it. I never felt bored reading. And even though I was not the intended age target, it's for middle schoolers, and I was, 18, 19 when I read this for the first time, I still enjoyed every single second of it. My sister, who was 26 when she first read this, she enjoyed every single second of it. So it's not like it's a weak book. It's not like it's a weird book. It's just that the series kind of gets better from here on. And it's just sort of what you want out of a first book anyway. If the series just kind of stays the same the whole time, then really what's the point of reading it? But this one really introduces the world in a good way. I like the references to the mythology. Obviously, he wrote this to teach people about mythology, and it's good. And I like the deeper it goes, how it introduces more stuff. I like that he right off the bat goes after Medusa, just like the original Perseus went after Medusa. And I like their trip to the underworld, and that was probably like my favorite part of all of it. There isn't as much to say about how much I like this book, considering it does get better, but it's just, I don't know. I liked pretty much every part, even the sad part when he thought his mom died. That was really bad, but I liked it because I could relate to how he felt in that moment. I liked how Grover was freaking out and how he didn't want the same mistakes to be made again. And I liked how Chiron was kind of hesitant, but he was like, all right, you just kind of got to do this. I like the rebellion of Percy, how he sent the Olympus, the head of Medusa. I like how he was not really afraid to sort of stand up for himself, and this is something that keeps growing and growing. He wasn't proud, he wasn't super happy that his dad was Poseidon, but he did have a little bit of that pride, but he mostly had a lot more bitterness because Poseidon was just not a good dude, and he wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna fall to my knees immediately. That just kind of progressed, and the relationship got better overall, and it was just it's good. The whole thing is good. I liked how you could feel his emotions change as he grew, but the way they are now, is just still just the beginning. And I liked that. I liked how he was scared more than anything, but I liked how his pettiness kind of, and his spitefulness sort of kept pushing him through. The adventure is not my favorite, I suppose, but I like them being in their different cities. Ares was written really well because I hated him. Death in general was written very well because oftentimes death is especially in kids' books, is portrayed as this beautiful thing that everybody should do, and I understand sort of why, but I like that he made it look extremely boring, and he made it look like something you don't want to be a part of, because it makes you want to live your life to the fullest, sort of, you know what I mean? And it makes you want to try to reach Elysium, so to speak. So I really appreciated that. I thought them getting into Hades was hilarious. I like the twists of the lightning bolt being in his backpack, and Hades having his helm stolen, and Luke being the bad guy, and I liked all of that. But it only gets better from here, and that's just sort of the only reason that it is this low. But yeah, overall, it's not a bad book, obviously. I loved it. I probably would not have continued the series if this was a bad book. But it gets so much better. And the next series gets so much better as well, that as just a starter, it doesn't hold up as much, and I don't have the same nostalgia for it that other people do because I didn't grow up with it. I did watch the movie, and the movie was ass, so that might also kind of bring down this adventure for me. But overall, it's a good book, and there's a reason a lot of people love it, and there's a reason, a lot of people have this as their favorite required book entirely. I liked a lot of the characters in this book. And even though my sister hated him, I really loved Chiron. I really liked Grover and his goofiness, and how he kept messing up but trying his damn best to fix everything. I really loved that. I actually liked Luke in the beginning. And Annabeth, not as much. She becomes my favorite character eventually, but she's not very good in this. She kind of treats Percy weird after she finds out his dad is Poseidon. Not because of Percy himself, just because her mom has beef with his dad, which was just kind of weird. But overall, my favorite character in this book is Percy himself. I found him very likable and relatable. I found his rebellious tendencies and how he was scared and worried, and just how he just adapted to what was in front of him, and went and did everything he did in the adventure, and stood up for himself against multiple gods. I really like that. So even though Annabeth, even in this book, she and Grover are both like, okay, we'll stay here so you can save your mom. That was really nice. I feel like overall Percy is the most likable character. So here's a new thing that I'm introducing for this series, which is my favorite chapter title. And even though there's some really good ones, like These Old Ladies Knit the Socks of Death, and Grover unexpectedly loses his pants, and My Mother Teaches Me Bullfighting, these were 3 in a row, I feel like the best one overall is We Find Out the Truth, sort of, because that is what happens, and it's just the best way to describe that chapter entirely. Then Charon looked at me. That cold stare behind his glasses seemed to bore a hole through my chest. "Here now," he said. "You couldn't read my name correctly. Are you dyslexic, lad?" "No," I said. "I'm dead."